Why is Pokémon so popular? Is it because of its sprawling world, its iconic characters, or challenging battles? Or is it because each and every one of its Pokémon is made with tender love and care, specifically crafted to be your friend and battle compatriot? Oh, sorry, did I say each and every? I meant about 50%. Let's be real. Some of these were made with about as much love as a depressed high schooler making your Big Mac at 1 in the morning. Alright, we got like a dinosaur to start off here. Cool. Let's throw some leaves and a banana beard, I guess. Why not? And, yeah, it can fly, and, yeah, it's pretty big, right? It's pretty big, so we should give it some solid defenses. I'm thinking like hundreds across the board. So let's just, oh, made a bit of a typo there. It doesn't matter. Just send it out. Who cares? And tell them the milkshake machine's broken too. No, it's not. I just don't want to do it. I think we all know a few Pokemon that look really cool. You want them to be great, but they just never got the chance. And look, I'd like to think that Game Freak did them so dirty by accident. But some of these, man, some of these feel personal. And it's about time that someone changed that. Today, I'm fixing 5 Pokemon that Game Freak did absolutely dirty. Richard, hit that intro. To keep this from being a list of Pokemon that I think are cool, but also kind of suck, I put a post out on my community tab asking you all for suggestions. And hey, by the way, if you subscribe to the channel, then YouTube will show you posts like this in the future. So if you want to have a direct impact on future videos, then get on down there. And somewhat unsurprisingly, one of the more common suggestions that I got was Arbok, who has the distinct honor of being generally useless for almost 30 years. And now, the reason I wanted to start with Arbok is that it highlights my 2 main guiding principles for this video. First, if you look at Arbok's stats, well, it's pretty clear what the problem here is. But I want these fixes to go a bit deeper than just throwing a couple extra points in there. I want to give all of these Pokemon, for lack of a better term, a reason for existing. The Kanto region has 33 poison-type Pokemon, literally a 5th of the entire game. So why should you choose Arbok over any of the others? What special thing does it bring to the table that no other Pokemon offers? The current answer is, I guess its name is Cobra backwards, except they made a typo? Wow. Definitely picking you over that cool purple rhino over there that's better in literally every way. Alright then, let's give Arbok 1000s across the board, a bunch of cracked moves, and an ability that just says, you win, lol. That'll show all those other poison types who's boss. Except that leads me to my second issue. Not every Pokemon is supposed to be good. Pokemon is pretty unique as far as RPGs go, in that it doesn't have separate player characters and monsters. Everything you can fight, you can also use. And in a game like that, well, I mean, sometimes you just need some meat for the grinder. If every single Pokemon was made to be super powerful in the hands of the player, it would also be super powerful in the hands of every trainer you fight. Arbok is kind of bad because it was designed to be kind of bad. As one of the primary Pokemon of Team Rocket, you're supposed to be able to mow down about 30 of them in a single dungeon. But I think there's a way that we can get the best of both worlds and make a Pokemon that's strong in the hands of the player and not super frustrating and annoying in the hands of your enemies. So with those 2 principles in mind, what can we do to fix Arbok? Problem number 1, what's the point of it? Based on its ability and moveset, it seems to want to be a bulky, utility, or support Pokemon. But its stat spread just can't back that playstyle up. So, just like how Weezing is sort of the archetypical bomb RPG enemy, let's make Arbok a proper thief or rogue type with a focus on applying status conditions and debuffs. First, let's look at those stats. Like I said, I don't want to make Arbok too strong, so I don't want to increase its base stat total too much. But what we can do is pull 35 points from its special attack and distribute it amongst its defenses. When Arbok was first introduced, all poison type attacks were physical, and even now, most of its moveset uses its attack stat. Why not use those wasted points to help it live a little bit longer? True, its HP is still low, but since it's a Pokemon that you have to fight a lot, it would be really annoying if it were too bulky. And I do have a workaround for that a bit later. Arbok's level up moveset has always been pretty mid, and I'm actually not going to change it too much. See, most trainers only use level up moves. So if Arbok's level up moveset is just okay, it'll keep those 500 Team Rocket grunts from being too strong and obnoxious to fight. Instead, let's give it access to a ton of great utility moves from TMs and move tutors. Lots of status moves like Thunder Wave and Confuse Ray, as well as a bunch of stat dropping moves like Rock Tomb and Charm. An enemy trainer is stuck throwing out Poison Stings and Bite, but in your hands, you can absolutely cripple anyone you're facing. Which, hey, look at that, is kind of the whole point of the game. Teach Pokemon to understand the power that's inside by shoving a bunch of CDs down their throats. Seriously. What are these things supposed to be? I never knew that. And we can cap it all off with a new signature move exclusive to Arbok. Or, other Pokemon can get it too, that's fine. Called Snake Drain. Look, I'm not good at coming up with names, alright? Give me something better in the comments. Anyway, this attack deals damage and restores health proportional to the number of stat drops that the target has. This is how we can combat Arbok's low HP stat. If you're smart, you can lower your opponent's attack to ensure that you can live longer, and because you didn't have that much health to begin with, it won't take that much effort to suck it all back up. Boom! Just like that, Arbok fixed. Alright, I did spend 2 pages of script on just one Pokemon, but now that we know the process and principles, the next 4 should go a lot faster. Now, unlike Arbok, I actually didn't get any suggestions for this next Pokemon, which, in a way, I think is a much bigger indictment of its uselessness. Because, be honest, I want all of you, that's not a bit, we're gonna run a little experiment here. Every single one of you watching this video right now, yes, I'm talking to you, leave a comment letting me know if you completely forgot that Chimecho existed. Do you know anything about it? Did you know that it was introduced in Generation 3, but its pre-evolved form Chingling wasn't introduced until Generation 4? Why? Chimecho is just another Psychic-type Pokemon in a game where Alakazam, Espeon, and Gardevoir are readily available. It actually has pretty good special attack and special defense, so you'd think it would be a good, bulky damage dealer, but it's got bad speed and bad HP, plus Psychic is one of the worst defensive typings in the game, so it's just way too easy to get killed before you can do anything. And the solution is actually really simple. Just slap the Steel typing on there, and you're done. I mean, it's a wind chime, it needs something metal to ring, it's not that big of a stretch, and it makes this Pokemon about 1,000 times better defensively. We don't even need to increase its stats at all, because the Steel typing brings its resistances from 3 up to 11 out of 18 types in the game, and prior to Generation 6, it would have also removed its weaknesses to Ghost and Dark on top of that. More than half the time, it's basically got twice the health anyway. Throw a Mirror Shot and Flash Cannon into its learn set somewhere, and that's it. It ain't rocket science, people. Alright, this next one is arguably not that bad, but I felt I had to mention it because, mathematically speaking, Exeggutor is the single Pokemon that Game Freak actually did the dirtiest. See, every modern Pokemon game uses 6 stats to determine a Pokemon's strength. However, in the original games, Special Attack and Special Defense were actually combined into one special stat. If you could deal good special damage, you could take it too. Gen 2 was the first to separate them, meaning they had to rework all the older Pokemon to include this new stat. Most of the time they simply assigned the old special stat to either attack or defense, and then came up with a whole new number for the other one. Some Pokemon greatly benefited from this change. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan both had a special stat of just 35, meaning they couldn't deal or take special damage. From Gen 2 onward, that 35 was applied to their special attack, which is fine, they don't learn a lot of special moves anyway, and they were given a really great special defense stat, making them way stronger. But not all Pokemon fared so well. Technically speaking, Chansey is the one with the biggest overall stat drop, losing a full 70 points from its special attack. But it also got an evolution to make up for it. Of the fully evolved Pokemon that aren't Mewtwo, who really does need fixing, Exeggutor was the one to suffer the most, losing 65 points from its special defense. Now, that being said, Exeggutor isn't that bad. True, Grass and Psychic is tied for the worst defensive type combination in the game, and it's really slow, so it's tough to use well. But its stats are actually really solid, and in fact, if we restored its special defense to its former glory, it would be on par with a lot of legendary Pokemon. But also, for once, it seems like Game Freak actually felt bad for dunking on one of its creations, because they actually already fixed this one. In Gen 3, it got the new Chlorophyll ability, which doubles its speed stat in the sun. Sure, it takes some effort to set up, but on the right team, Exeggutor can be really good. So, I don't know, maybe just give it access to Sunny Day and Solar Beam as level 1 moves to nudge players in the right direction, and call it a day. Now, another suggestion that I got a lot was literally the entirety of Johto. Yes, haha, very funny, a lot of the Johto Pokemon really suck. But here's the thing, Gen 2 does have a lot of really cool Pokemon in it. You just can't catch them. Right, so technically speaking, this entry is 5 Pokemon in 1, but they're all here for the same reason. Magcargo, Houndoom, Murkrow, Misdreavus, and Tyranitar were all introduced in Gold and Silver, but you couldn't catch any of them until the post-game. Houndour, Murkrow, and Slugma are all exclusive to Kanto, and Misdreavus and Larvitar only show up in Mount Silver, the literal last area of the game. And, like, why? What's the point of designing all these Pokemon if you can't even use them? I get it, maybe it's cool to get to the end of the game and still discover new Pokemon that you've never seen before. But you know what's even cooler than that? Getting to play through the whole game with Godzilla! So, here's what I would do. Make Murkrow and Houndour relatively rare nighttime encounters on the routes around Ecruteak City. This does a couple of things. First of all, Dark was a brand new type introduced in Generation 2. Why not give players the opportunity to use it against one of the types that you literally designed it to be used against? This also allows players to use the new day-night cycle feature to find some actual cool Pokemon and not like Rattata and Ariados. Next, I would have Slugma in Mount Mortar and the caves of Route 47. It makes sense for an eventual rock type, and it's not like Macargo was some incredibly powerful Pokemon who needed to be locked to one route in Kanto. Why? The only spot that really makes sense for Misdreavus would be the Burn Tower, and I mean, sure, why not? It's the ghost town, it works. Honestly, I think you need to do a bit more to fix Misdreavus than just making it available earlier, but if you're playing the Gen 4 remakes, I guess you could use a Dusk Stone to get a sort of decent ghost type pretty early on. Also, while we're at it, let us get the stones before Kanto 2. You're telling me I have to get all the way to Cerulean City to evolve my Gloom? What are we doing here, people? And finally, I think it'd be really cool if Larvitar is a super rare encounter in the Dark Cave, which you can technically access before the first gym. Now you can have it be super rare, and it's a hard Pokemon to catch, so it's unlikely that many players will get it. But you at least have a chance to use a dope little Larvitar throughout your entire Johto playthrough, slowly training it up into a proper monster. And if you don't catch it the first time around, you can always have another go when you loop back to this same cave after the 8th gym, when you have better Pokemon and Ultra Balls. It's like a full circle moment showing how far you've come on your journey. Instead of finding one right at the end of the game when you're like, well, I mean, it's cool, but I'm not going to train it up 40 levels. And now for the 5th and final Pokemon of the video, and the one that actually inspired this idea in the first place. I always thought that Sandslash was a pretty cool looking Pokemon. But someone at Game Freak has a personal vendetta against it. They must, because in the earliest Kanto games, when you were most likely to use it, do you know how many ground-type attacks this ground-type Pokemon learns? Well, it gets the 15 base power Sand Tomb at level 52, and that's it. This is improved slightly over the years, but for some reason, Game Freak is adamant that Sandslash wait ages to learn any good move. And to make matters worse, there's a lot of competition for ground types in Kanto, and none of them have a moveset this bad. And it's not like Sandslash has a crazy good stat spread either. It goes all in on attack and defense at the expense of HP, special defense, and speed. One good water attack will take this thing out before it even has a chance to use any of its terrible moves. If you want a ground type in Kanto, you're better off using Dugtrio pretty much every time. To fix this one, well, I think we're going to need every tool in our belt. I'm talking a whole new moveset, new stats, type, everything's new. It's trying out a new nickname. It's getting bangs. First up, stats. This thing is set up to be a bulky tank that can deal big physical damage, so let's actually commit. Take 20 points out of its speed and throw it into HP. You're probably going to go last, but you're probably going to take the hit just fine. And to play up its role as a physical wall even more, why not give it Rough Skin as one of its abilities in the later games? I mean, isn't that the whole point of hedgehogs? That they've got points? It hurts to touch them? I mean, it's really, I said this before, it's not rocket science. Next up, we gotta do something about that typing. Kanto has a couple of pretty good ground types already, and we need Sandslash to be able to compete without accidentally making them obsolete in the process. So let's turn Sandslash into a ground and a fighting type. Does this make sense from a design or lore standpoint? I don't know. I don't care, to be honest, because it gives Sandslash a unique role in the game that it didn't have before. After all, the only other ground and fighting type as of now is Great Tusk, introduced in Generation 9. And while a lot of ground types in Kanto are designed to be defensive, fighting types generally aren't, so it's unique in that aspect too. It also serves the double purpose of aiding with its moveset, because if you're going to add the fighting type, then you should probably add some fighting type moves as well. Well, I mean, according to Game Freak you shouldn't, but I'm fixing it, alright? Early on, Sandshrew and Sandslash should get Mud Slap, Karate Chop, and Sand Tomb. It's really not that great of a move. There's no reason to hold off on it till 52. I guess it can keep Slash soon after it evolves because, I mean, it's in the name and everything, but it's all new from there on out. Counter is a good fighting type move to play into its defensive nature. Then it gets Dig, another good ground move. I don't care if it's a TM you can get in Kanto. Maybe I used it on someone else, okay? And then, relatively late, it can get Sandstorm, Earthquake, maybe even Cross Chop if you're feeling frisky. Earthquake is an insanely strong move. It makes sense not to throw it out too early, just so long as you have something to tide you over in the meantime. And just like that, we have our whole new Sandslash. Now, is it arguably so different that it's barely even the same Pokemon anymore? Maybe, but be honest. Which one would you rather use? And there you have it. 5 Pokemon that Game Freak absolutely shafted, given some much needed TLC. But I'll be honest, this video was originally going to be fixing 10 Pokemon for that sweet round number in the title, but it ended up being way longer than I thought. So if you like this video, and it does well, I've got a few more in the tank for round 2, including some popular suggestions like Ladian and Tropius, or anyone else you'd like to see. Now, excuse me, it's currently 1 AM, and I have to get back to my job making Big Macs. Oh, sorry, what's that? You're saying that I forgot the beef on your hamburger? Oh, wow. Tough? I mean, what do you want me to say here? Oh my god. No, the milkshake machine is broken. And of course, a massive thank you to all my supporters on Patreon, including Alex, Alakazam, Big Dog Ty for the win, Captain Kirby, Sidian, Sherry and Mark, Stylish, The Boss Killer 94, Ty Studio, and Moki Ubu.